This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to the Bladen County Board of Commissioners meeting for Monday, March the third. Mr. Arthur Bullock is excused tonight. He's in NACO Legislative Conference in Washington, D.C. And Reverend J. Dorman from Hickory Baptist Church will provide the invocation. And Dr. Leah leads the pledge of allegiance.
Let's pray. Kind and gracious Heavenly Father, God, we give you thanks tonight, praise for your mighty works that you're doing in our county. God, we thank you for creating us in your image, Lord, God, that we are able to exist in community. God, I pray that you be with our elected officials tonight, Lord, as they deliberate on the matters in front of them. God, I pray that every decision be made, Lord, with your guidance and your wisdom in your hand. God, we love you and thank you for mercy and for grace in your precious and your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Doctor. Before we approve the agenda, I've got to, under item 13, I need to add personnel to closed session. I entertain a motion to approve that. Without approving. Second. Motion by Mr. Cameron, second by Mr. Hester. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Individual delegation wish to address the commissioners? Matters of interest to commissioners? You want to have anything tonight? Okay. So we'll move into item 5. Thompson Price audit presentation.
Well, good evening, and thank y'all for allowing us to come present the audit this year, as well as to conduct the annual audit. I guess to miss the meeting for snow in Elizabethtown is a good reason not to have a presentation in January, but I can apologize for taking another little bit to get here, but it's nice to build a snowman and have a snowman fight every once in a while. You do have the bound copy of the audit, and as usual, you've also got a smaller audit presentation that we'll kind of go through briefly. Please don't hesitate to stop if there's a number or something you would like some go deep diving in. We'll go through it. You know where I am down the street. I'll be glad to talk to you anytime, the rest of the week, the rest of the month, the rest of the year, if you ever have a question. I would like to thank Lisa and all her staff for everything that she does. When we're getting ready for it, when we're there, we aggravate them, we test their limits, and they're always there to smile on their face and give us whatever they need. So thank you, Lisa. We're going to start on page 1, down at the bottom of the presentation. It's required auditor communications. These are just little bullet points for things I'd like to make sure you know as the Board of Commissioners, those in charge of governance, that the objective of our engagement is to express an opinion on the audit, that the financial statements are materially correct, and we have done that. It's an unmodified opinion, which is something, the highest opinion we render means your numbers were not modified. We cannot look at every transaction that goes on within the county, so we have reasonable assurance and not absolute. We understand your internal control is a process of our determining risk and then deciding on what audit procedures we need to conduct. We evaluate your accounting principles. We understand those and make sure they are appropriate, and they all are. During our engagement, we contact or communicate with Lisa and your county manager, Mr. Peterson, at the time to go over any issues and then resolve those. Any larger issues that rise, we will talk about those tonight. As in the past, any adjustments that we've recommended, Lisa has reviewed them and made those adjustments accordingly. Flipping over to page 2, significant accounting policies, we've reviewed those, and all of those are appropriate with other governmental entities. In the middle, adoption of changes in other policies. There was a new one this year, very minimal, but it's the opioid settlement. The way it was presented in previous audits has been changed by new accounting pronouncements, so nothing really affecting anything other than just presentation. We review all estimates that the county uses in the financial sector, and all those are appropriate. The significant disclosures, those are what's in the back of the audit the long lengthy pages that, begin on page 25 to 59. If you ever get bored, you'd like to read through those, please do. Call me if you have any questions. We had no difficulties and we had no disagreements. Flipping over to page 3, corrected and uncorrected misstatements. Again, they had none of those. Everything that we, thought needed to be adjusted, Lisa did adjust those. Management representations were signed. Other findings, we're gonna get to that in just a second. There is one other thing, the Local Government Commission's financial indicators. The audit was late. The audit was actually due October 31st. They pushed it to December 15th because of things at the state that didn't get pushed out to us. And then our firm's got, about 7 audits that we try to get done, and it just wasn't able to get done. The Local Government Commission has actually changed the due date for future audits to December 31st due to all the things that are kind of going on. So that will remedy itself. Page 4 is just a detailed of what I just went over. We'll flip to page 5, the summary of our audit results. The financial statements had no material weaknesses, significant deficiencies, or non-compliance. The federal awards did have some material weaknesses and some non-compliance, and that dealt with the Medicaid. Again, we've discussed that in previous audits. We can get into that if you'd like, but nothing's really changed on that. The staff at DSS is very committed to finding issues and all that. We've had our exit conference, and they're working on ways of training employees. The page 6 regarding state awards, there were no issues with state awards. Flipping to page 8, this is just a detailed description of the findings that we did have in Medicaid, if you'd like to read through those. Flipping to page 9, that's the corrective action plan that Department of Social Services has put in place for trying to fix those issues. And they go on through page 10 and 11. And then on page 12, page 13 is a financial indicator section that is created by the Local Government Commission once we put in financial data. You can see down at the bottom how fund balance in red was big last year. It dropped to 70% this year, and that's mainly because of the expectation that it would after opera money was, revenue replacement in 2023. So that picked it up in 23, and it dropped it back down to its normal average there as it was in 22 year end. Flipping back through that, page 15 shows the quick ratio in your water and sewer. That just looks at your current assets minus your current liabilities. If that's too low, that's an indicator there's financial issues going on there. It's a very strong number at almost 45%. The little pink box down at the bottom is the late audit that I mentioned earlier. Lisa and I will get together on responding to that. Pages 16 and 17, just normal questions, nothing to really go over on that. Page 18 is a detailed audit is the audit report. So, not a bad idea every once in a while to read that and see, it'll explain to you what your responsibilities are during this engagement and what the auditor's responsibilities are. So it's always a good idea just to kind of look and read through that. The next section begins on page 21 and is just the financial analysis of this presentation. You see cash over the past 5 years is almost $45 million. Of that $45 million, 2.2 is restricted for specific purposes in the general fund. The next slide is cash of the water fund, the solid waste fund. Almost $4 million on that, $280,000 of that is restricted. Flipping over to the next slide, you see a 5-year comparison of the different revenue of the general fund. Bladen County ad valorem taxes grew $695,000, just over $27 million. Other taxes also stair-stepping. That's your local option sales taxes continuing to climb over the past 5 years. Restricted money, that's your grants that come in for a specific purpose. That changes every year, more this year, more less. It just depends on what is coming in and what's been awarded to the county. Permits and fees, hardly able to see those, but they've held kind of constant. Sales and services, could be with your EMS services, the jail fees, and so forth. Investment earnings, y'all have done a great job in making sure y'all were able to obtain good, sources of investment income on the capital cash that you've got within the fund. So I do commend you on that. It is showing a very good amount, as it has not in the past several years. Miscellaneous is just small things that go where we can't decide where else they would go.
Like what?
Sales of surplus assets, various refunds. I could get you a little bit more detail,
So these funds that we can go back to the, correct area?
well, they're, the Medicaid, right, yes, ma'am. But what you're saying, yes, if we get a current year refund or we have to pay something back from that current year's revenue, then we'll place it against that. Slide 24 is the same type, but it's of your general fund expenditures. General government, a little less than $8 million. Public safety growing, over 16, almost $17 million. Economic physical development still staying below $2 million. Human services can go up and down. A lot of that money comes from grants, so it could be high one year and low the next year. So you see it stepping up a little bit this year. Education, same thing, expenditures going on based on restricted revenue sources. Culture and recreation and debt service. But again, each year, if you look at this year compared to last year's expenditures were reduced for the revenue replacement money that came in from ARPA. General fund did end up with a surplus of $1.7 million. Slide 25 compares the revenue and the expenditures within your general fund, and as I mentioned, it was a surplus of 1.7. Slide 26 shows fund balance has continued to grow, almost $48 million. Again, to be commended on your budgeting practices to build the stability and the financial soundness of the county. Slide 27 is just a fund balance graph compared to the state. Population, it used to be based on population, but now it's based on comparative budgets. So other counties that have your budget size, you can see again that spike in 2023 was based on ARPA money that came in, and now back down to the pre-ARPA levels. Pages 28 and 29 are just a pie chart of your revenue in the general fund and expenditures in the general fund. Ad valorem taxes make up 49% of your budgeted revenue. In 24, and I'm sorry I said that wrong. This is a comparison of pie chart of 24 to 23 revenues. So you can see not a lot of change in allocation of revenue from 23 to 24. The next page, 30 and 31, is a pie chart of the expenditures in the general fund compared to 23. You can see public safety was 32% in 2023. It's 30% this year. Human services, 23% versus 24% last year. You can see how things change from year to year.
You know why they increased on public safety?
On public safety, I mean, I don't recall exactly the amount. Pages 32 is a 5-year comparison of the revenue in the water fund. Tap fees grew a little bit. Water sales have constantly been climbing each year, rate increases and expansion. Late and reconnect fees held kind of consistent, and the interest again has grown this year. 5-year revenue comparison of your solid waste revenues. Things have been a little bit more consistent on that. Flipping over to pages 34 and 35. 34 is just comparing your water fund revenue to the expenditures. You did have a surplus of $246,000 as the way we measure it in generally accepted accounting principles. You had a surplus on budgeted accounting methods of $421,000. The solid waste fund on 35, not as positive. It did have a deficit on the GAAP basis of $659,000. On budgeted, y'all had planned to lose $1 million and bring that out of surplus for 2024.
And you, on 35?
Uh-huh.
I don't see anything for
of the other expense, so that means you have none.
It's very, very minor, yes, ma'am. Did not pick up. Pages 36 and 37 are just a comparison of the property tax rates, the state average. State average is a little bit higher than where the county is. Total tax levy did grow substantially this year, as I mentioned earlier, the $695,000 in cash collections. Any questions on that very quick rundown of what we do during the audit and financials?
Can I ask some questions? Is this audit any different than from the year before? What do you look at different, anything?
We do try to do tests that are different from year to year, but we are looking at material transactions. We're looking at material account balances. We are looking at different grants depending on what our requirement is for obtaining a level of expenditures. We have to get a certain level of expenditures in all your federal and state awards. So from year to year, the grants, this grant may be tested and that grant may be tested. So it could change from year to year, but Medicaid is always going to be tested per state requirements.
Entertain a motion to accept the election for the 23-24 audit as presented, motion by Mr. Castro, second by Dr. Phelan Goins. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Bladen Community College, Dr. Amanda Lee.
We're gonna stand up since there's more of us than there are chairs.
Little chair up.
All right, we can stand up, we're good. Good reception.
Stand up.
So, Mr. Chairman, members of the County Commissioners staff, I bring with me tonight Mr. Roy Thompson, our CFO, as well as our Chairman of our Board of Trustees, Mr. Dennis Troy. And I first of all want to say thank you. Again, this is such a privilege to come before you every year and have an opportunity to celebrate what the college is doing, and also to talk to you about our budget request for the upcoming year. So thank you for your time. I want to stress to you that we continue to be a leader. We continue to be recognized for our workforce development programs, for our university transfer programs, and for the work that we're doing with our partners in the community. And we could not do that if it were not because of the support we get from you all. So thank you for what you do to make sure that Bladen Community College continues to thrive. So I wanted to let you know that the state of the college is great. If you had my past year's reports, I would have said the state of the college is good. So I am very excited to be able to say that it is great. We, as you all know, I think you've just listening to your financial reports, COVID did a number on all of us, right? And we've all kind of trying to make sure that we get back to where we were before. And we are starting to see that in our enrollment on campus. If you go by the college, you can now see that our parking lots are full. Our employees are complaining about having to walk to get to their offices and classes. And our student lounge area, if you haven't been to see some of the renovations for our bookstore and J&S Foods are now in there, and we have students that hang out there all the time, studying and spending time collaborating on different projects. So to have the campus alive with all that activity is really exciting and very good news for us as a community as well. We continue to advocate for Propel NC. I want to be sure that you all know what Propel NC is in case you have an opportunity to advocate. That is our proposed new business model. And it would be very impactful for us at any of our rural community colleges across the state. But for us here in Bladen, it would allow us to respond a little bit quicker to our economic growth needs. It would also allow us to have more money to support those programs that are more expensive. And it would provide us a little bit more stability for our overall budget. So if you have an opportunity to talk with any of our elected officials or people that you know that have that authority, please let them know how much that we need and support Propel NC. I also want to share with you that our partnership with Bladen County Schools continues to be strong. We have celebrated all year, as I know you have, about the early colleges, our first grade A school in the county. We are so proud of the work they have done, and we are so proud of the work they continue to do. I just want you to know I meet with the principal regularly, and they are just getting started. that is a school that has full potential, and they are going to live up to every expectation that you will have. On your seat, because you didn't have enough reading material with your audit report, I have given you a handout that we used when we met with the Board of Education. Our our trustees and the elected Board of Education members got together. We had some wonderful finger foods and lots of chicken salad and chocolate chip cookies. And while everybody was enjoying the refreshments and getting to know each other, we also went over some important statistics. This information just reflects East Bladen High School and West Bladen High School. So I want you to see that a third of our students at our public high schools take at least one college class before they graduate. That's really, really exciting, because we know if they take one class, then they realize they can be a college student. And we know that we've got their interest, and we can share with them so many other opportunities. On the back is just some additional information about the Career and College Promise or Dual Enrollment Program, and some other information that you might find interesting in your free time. So that is that. Another thing that I'm excited about is just this morning, we started a 9-week class with some of your employees. About 24 of your directors and mid-level managers met with us, and we're doing employee development and leadership training, and I had a blast. They may not say the same thing, but for 2 hours today, we've talked about a lot of things about customer service, and we've got a wonderful agenda ahead for the next 9 weeks. So the partnership with you is equally as important to us as the partnership with the county schools. Every year we take on a safety initiative, and we do this with your support and your funding. So I wanted you to know that this year we are looking at replacing all of our cameras and also having access to door control. I think you're doing some similar things in the county as well, and we want to be sure that no matter what, anybody who comes on our campus can feel safe and secure. We continue to work on Booker T. Washington. Already, we have all of our adult high school, not all of our adult high schools, but we have started having adult high school classes out there in the evenings, and they've been very popular. We have started doing some renovations to the kitchen, and so our culinary program is getting started, and we hope to have that up and running this year. Our food truck is already here, so we're just making sure that the kitchen is ready, and we'll be working with your employees to make sure we have all the appropriate permits. And our intellectually, developmentally delayed adults have their program out there, and Smart Start has moved their offices out there, and we're doing a lot of partnership with them in collaboration as well. Finally, for some of the things we're excited about, we have recently hired a new Small Business Center director. I think this is important for you to know as we partner with economic development. So Terry Dennison, who you may know from the county chamber, as also from the town of Elizabethtown, is now our Small Business Center director. So her task is to help anyone who's trying to start a small business. Her task is always to help if somebody already has a small business with any resources or advice that they may need. So she's a wonderful liaison that will connect people with the experts that they need to know. And most of those services, if not all, are free. So anything that we can do to boost the economy, we're trying to do. So all of these outcomes would not happen, again, if it were not for you and the investment that you have made. So the Board of Trustees, staff, and I have been working on a budget, and Mr. Thompson is prepared to tell you a little bit about that.
Good evening. This spring, the board, the president, and I worked to craft a budget request that reflected the fiscal needs of the college, both in general expense, operation, and capital facilities. The operating budget request that I bring before you this evening reflects a 5.8% increase over last year. We have focused on efficiencies and reevaluated processes so that we could decrease some areas, even though we are having to increase in others. The capital budget request that I bring before you this evening is a result of a recently completed facility master plan. This plan included an assessment of each building and a 10-year capital plan that was approved by our Board of Trustees. Having a current facility master plan is an accreditation requirement for the college, but will also guide our priorities in order to maintain the campus in a responsible manner. This year, we have we have several projects for Booker T. Washington, including HVAC and ADA, a safety access issue in Building 17, which is our early college, transitioning all of our R22 HVAC units as we are regulated to do, and other items you have seen in your packets. The operating budget considers significant items such as the need for additional facilities personnel. Currently, we have 3 full-time employees who are responsible for the maintenance of all of our BCC facilities and grounds. The need to provide additional security coverage for Booker T. Washington. A 3% salary increase for our locally paid employees, which is commensurate with a anticipated 3% state salary increase. We value, as you do, those employees who give of themselves and their talents each day and want to compensate them equitably with our state-funded employees. The county support for our CCP dually enrolled students. We thank you for that. Beginning this year, you have provided for textbook expenses for East Bladen and West Bladen high school students. We hope you will continue to provide this support, allowing our high school students to attend BCC at no cost. We have tried to keep our operating costs as low as practical, cognizant that resources are limited. We also understand that these times are unprecedented and the future uncertain. We commit to you that we will do our best to mitigate our expenses with available federal funds and other grants. Thank you.
So it's my job on behalf of the Board of Trustees to bring before you the fiscal needs of the college, and I know that this is not easy for you. I know you're being pulled in many directions, and we're not the only ones who come before you. So I do want you to know that we do our best to make sure that our requests are appropriate, and we do our best to make sure that we supplement as much as we can with grants and other resources. We would like to be as self-sufficient as possible. I also want to make sure that you know that we so appreciate the relationship that we have with you. You work with our interim county manager, with Lisa, with Maria. They make coming to you easy, and they have been amazingly supportive in everything that we have done this year. So thank you so much for that and sharing your staff with us. Before I turn over my little bit of time that I have left to Mr. Troy, I do want to share with you that I gave you another handout, and this is a little bit more detailed. It's a lot of data on here. This is from My Future NC, and you may remember about 5 years ago, you signed a resolution, as well as the Community College Board signed a resolution that committed to having 2 million North Carolinians with a degree of some type by 2030. So we get this report to show where we are in that goal, working towards that goal. I think there's a lot of really interesting information on this that you can really delve into. I'm not going to spend any time doing it today, but if there's anything that you would ever like to talk about or want to know how we're using this data at the college, I would love to continue that conversation with you. Mr. Troy, do you have any comments?
Thanks, Chairman. On behalf of the trustees of Bladen Community College, I take it personal, Commissioners, to thank each one for the support that y'all have given us in the past, the present, and the support y'all gonna give us in the future. Because if it weren't for the support y'all give us, our students here in Bladen County couldn't be successful at Bladen Community College. And you heard the president express all the great things we're doing. It's not easy, but we need your support. We come here crying every year, and I thank y'all personally, being a trustee, for the support that y'all have given us in the past, present, and the future. Thank you. The struggle's real. We need your help.
So between the three of us, if you have any questions, I feel confident that one of us will be able to answer. But thank you for your time.
All right, good morning.
The first one, what are you doing or are you any plans to mitigate the reduction when it comes to federal dollars for education?
So we are watching all of the things that we're getting from the federal government, and it feels like it's been almost a memo a day. Trying to keep up with all of it.
Yes.
I will tell you that there's some grants that we've applied for that we have not gotten, and I've been so upset that we didn't get them until now. And now it's kind of a relief that we don't have to worry about anything being frozen or any of the money not coming to us. One of the grants we do get is Perkins, and you've probably heard about that through the public schools as well. For us, we have 1.5 employees that are covered through the Perkins grant, and we have talked with those employees to come up with a plan if anything were to be frozen. And we're trying to respond appropriately and as quickly as we can with all the orders that we're receiving.
And also talk about the purpose, not specifically, but I know that public schools funds had to be returned already, that's been funded.
Mhm.
You have none that's been, had to be returned.
We have spent a lot of hours,
I got it. Okay, I got it.
but if we have to, we of course will do whatever we're required to do.
And how it impacts our health.
It's,
Let us know.
yes, absolutely. It's gonna, anytime you have to return money, it hurts.
Anyone else?
Well, I've said it the last 3 or 4 years, but, this will be my last time to get to say this, so thank you, for what you guys do. My daughter will graduate in May, the associate's degree from BCC and a plumber from East Bladen. She's so far ahead, I mean, it's just her life right now, so I appreciate it personally, what you guys do. I reckon that'll be our last one to come through there, though. Not planning on having any more.
It's an honor and a privilege. Thank you.
So, thank you for coming tonight, and we will be going into the budget process very, very soon, and we'll talk then.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. General Service Department, Mr. Scott Stanley.
Y'all gonna,
How what?
y'all gonna get tired of seeing me asking for money?
Okay.
What we got is the chiller replacement for the courthouse. If something's needed to be done for the past 4 or 5 years, we're still running on the old R22 system. Been outdated, I think, for about 9 years. Spent a lot of money doing work on it every summer just to keep it going. So it's just something we really need to do. I think I got a good deal on it for this crowd.
Pleasure of the board. Motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Goodman, second by Mr. Gillespie, any discussion? All in favor, say, yes, ma'am?
One question on this, the warranty and all that, we got all of that included?
Yeah, all that's included, and, Brady actually handles a rebate system for us. So we're getting a good deal on it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So, Dr. Lee, have you talked to Casey Skipper with Duke Fire Company?
Several times about anything in,
Rebates.
about rebates, no, sir.
We need to hook you up with Dr. Casey. Advisory appointed, Chief Bladen Beautiful, need one.
We have to put it away.
Back down.
Oh, that's right. I'll get you. Okay, got a motion table?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Harrison, second by Dr. Pimengo, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So March the 17th is Blamer Rural Fire Department 2, Cape Fear River Assembly 1, Harvest Creek Fire District 3, Down Rural Fire District Committee 2. So let's do the calendar review. So Saturday, bridging the gap together, tackling food insecurities together, Blaine Community College Workshop, Work Development, Field 14, starting at, 9 a.m. to 2, all day. And then from 11 a.m. to 12:30, we've got a prayer service on the courthouse lawn. The 10th is Health and Human Service Advisory Board meeting at 5 o'clock. 15th is the prayer service again from 11 to 12:30 on the courthouse lawn. 17th is we meet at 6:30. The 22nd is prayer service again on the courthouse lawn from 11 to 12:30. 25th is Keep Blaine Beautiful, Blaine County Central Service Officer. Is that the first meeting?
No.
Second meeting? Let's get the minutes from that, so we'll see how it's going. And then the prayer service, the 29th at the courthouse. Prayer service. We said, I think we put it the last time, I can't remember the last name.
It's okay, I just haven't seen anything out there about it or anything, so.
We'll get it to you. April the fifth, Labor Spring Fling, Lou Mill, 5K wine run is from 10 to 11:30. And Bladen Job Fair and Veterans Stand down is at the Elizabethtown First Baptist Church, and that's from 10 to 2. So we're gonna participate in that, HR. April the seventh, prayer service, 8 o'clock right here. 6:30, Board of Commissioners meeting. The 8th is Animal Control Board meeting at 6 o'clock. 14th is Health and Human Service at 5. County offices are closed the 18th for Good Friday. Board of Commissioners meet the 21st at 6:30. And Keep Lane Beautiful meets again the 29th. That's the calendar review. Madam Benches Commissioner, anyone have anything? Individuals, delegates, and wishes to address? Entertain a motion.
Second.
For going to closed session, in accordance with NCG 143-318-11A3 for attorney-client privilege and personnel, NCG S143-318.11A6. Motion by Mr. Britt, second by Mr. Cameron. Any discussion? All right, let's take a minute to go to closed session.
This conference will now be recorded.
I had them back on the fifth round.
Motion to come out of closed session. First by Mr. Rathman, second by Mr. Britt.
Okay,
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.